Welcome to today's webinar, our monthly webinar about the most frequently asked questions answered by our support team. My name is Andreas Hörold. I will be the presenter today. I'm responsible for marketing and public relations in the company Dlubal Software. For instance, the Dlubal website, the German and English webinars, newsletters, and so on. My colleague, Markus Baumgartel, is going to introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Markus Baumgartel. I'm responsible for customer support and frequently asked questions on our website. And today I will help Andreas to answer your questions during this webinar.
Okay, thank you for your introduction. Then we can switch off our webcams. For the attendees who participate the first time, you can show or hide the control panel on the right side of your screen. And if you open it, you can enter a short question here and Markus will answer you. If there are too many questions and you don't get an answer during the webinar, you will get an email after the webinar. The other way is to watch the entire webinar and then email your questions to info@dlubal.com. So then we start. We start with the first question. First question is it possible to represent similar cross-sections with which have different functions in the structural system by different colors? E.g. when you have columns or beams, like in this example, we created this example with similar or equal cross-sections HE300A for all the beams and columns. And we would like to display it or display the members with different colors. I can show you the navigator display. You can use different settings here. For example, the members according to member type and so on, section, and you can see there's the same color for all the same cross sections. I would like to show you two possibilities to show the columns and longitudinal beams and so on with different colors. At first, I start here left above with the base data. And I go to settings and options and activate the member representatives. Okay. Now you can see the different member representatives. For instance, the cross beams and the longitudinal beams and the columns. And you can select them here in the navigator display on the left side, member representatives. And now where are the columns and so on with different colors. And it's also possible to rename them. If I click on such a member representative, I can edit here the name. For example, call it column HE300A. Okay, and I could do that for all. So that's one possibility, but the disadvantage is when you now it works because all the members have different lengths. But for example, when I select those here and move them 1 meter in X direction, okay, then you can see those members and those members have the same length. And that's why that option doesn't work anymore. Okay. I switch off the member representatives. I can also deselect it here, member representative, when the dots are also undisplayed. Okay, so next possibility, I create selections, object selections. With a right click here in the navigator data, I select new object selection. First, I select the members that are parallel to a certain member. I select one member, okay. And I call it column. Okay. And how can I display it? So for example, that's the first selection. And you can see it also in the navigator views. So we continue with the next object selection. I have to activate all again. Okay. So new object selection, the same workflow, members that are parallel to this member, for example, and I call it longitudinal beam. Okay, next selection. Again, members that are parallel to this member. And I call it cross beams. Cross beam. Okay. So, and now you can switch to the navigator display. Scroll down and check here visibilities. And now where are all the members with the different colors? And the next advantage is you have got the views, the certain views. You can activate, for example, columns, longitudinal beams, cross beams, and so on. So, and you can also change the color if you want. For example, yellow. Okay. Yeah, I think it's a nice solution. You have got the views in the navigator views and the colors in the rendering according to the visibilities. Okay, that's all to this question. We turn to the next model. Such a small steer hall, because the question is, where can I activate the lack of correlation in the load wizard of RSTAB 9 and RFEM 6? Now you can see that this building with small height and so on. And if the wind load for buildings or structures is to be determined by the simultaneous assumption of aerodynamic pressure and suction coefficients on the windward and leeward sides of the building, the correlation of the wind pressure on zones D and E of the wall surfaces may be taken into account. I would like to show that on example. I create a wind load. Here left above, insert, load wizards, wind load wizard. So now I open the dialog box. So at first I select vertical walls with dual pitch roof, and I have to select the base corner nodes. Now that's quite easy for that model. Okay. And the roof corner nodes. Okay. So that's all. And then we turn to the parameters. I use the load maps and I import the location. I selected the Eurocode and the national annex of Austria. Yeah, Vienna is selected. I leave that for that example. What is important to us is here at the bottom, the lack of correlation according to Eurocode. For buildings with an aspect ratio of height to width or width larger than 5, the resulting force is multiplied by 1. And for buildings with ratio of height to width smaller than 1, the resulting force may be multiplied by 0.85. And intermediate values are linearly interpolated. So let's turn to the, I create a load case at first, and then let's turn to the results. And we take a look at the zone D and E. We remember the wind pressure and suction 0.56 and 0.20. And if I go back to the parameters and I select the lack of correlation, then the loads should be decreased. Yeah, you can see it was 0.56 and it's now smaller, and also the minus wind pressure on zone D. Yeah, you can decide by yourself if you want to use that option. It's not possible with the German annex, but for other annexes, it is possible to reduce the wind load and define the wind load where. Okay, then we turn to the next question. RFEM 6 crashes directly after the program start. What can be the reason? Recently, the graphics card was mostly to blame for crash occurring after the program start or extremely slow program reaction. Yeah. I would like to show the website. That's our website, dlubal.com, and you can search for the certain FAQ under support and learning and FAQs, but I added to our event here, news and events, webinars. That's today's webinar. You will get an email in the next days when the recording is online. The recording will be here. And the email contains a link to that page here. Then please scroll down. You will find all models and the FAQ that I meant. So just read the FAQ. We recommend graphic cards from NVIDIA or AMD. And we strongly advise not to use an integrated GPU, as there are often problems due to the drivers. For example, notebooks are often equipped with 2 graphic chips, such as mine. I have got an NVIDIA graphic card. Just click on it if you have an NVIDIA graphic card, and you can use that link for AMD graphic cards. I select the link for the NVIDIA graphic card, and you can go through that page here, the single steps. I would like to show that on my computer. The dialog is in German because my computer has a German interface. But you have got global settings here under 3D settings, the global settings, and you can select the preferred graphic processor. Currently is selected automatically choice, but you can use the NVIDIA, for example, high performance processor for all programs. You can do that, or you can use certain program settings. For example, here you can search for RFEM 6. Is it not there? I can add it. Here's RFEM 6. I select it. So, and then I can assign the NVIDIA high performance processor for that program. Just note, when you use this option, when there is an update to RFEM 6.03, you have to do that again, because then the file doesn't work anymore. Okay, or you use the high performance processor for all programs. Okay. Yeah, that should be all to that question. We turn back to RFEM and to the next model. So the next question is, it is not possible to design double hinges for my model using the steel design add-on. Every time I try it, the program shows information about the invalid section shape. Okay, let's do the steel design. Okay, that you can see the error message. So, and you can see that member is not designable because of the invalid section shape for the design. So I can select the two members. So, and then members, edit, and I can edit the section. So, and it's a built-up steel section, and the design is not possible for the non-interacting combination type, that one. But cross-section without this property can be designed by the add-on, for example, for this one. And now you can see the shear. The interaction of members can be affected in RFEM by the T value. It's taken into account when calculating the shear areas and depends on the formatting or formation of the bracings. I leave one here. I select new section, ML 60 by 60 by 6. Okay, 123. Okay, that's all. That should be sufficient. I start the steel design again. And now it should work. Okay, now we can see the stability design. It's for the, we don't get any error message, and that's why it works now, because of our changing of the cross section. Okay, then we turn to the next model and the next question. Next question is it possible to display the sum of forces on a line hinge for the dimensioning of fasteners later? Yes, that's possible. We regard to the dimensioning and choice of fasteners to be applied between the two surfaces. It's useful to know the resulting forces or moments between these surfaces. We have got a line hinge here, we can double click on it. Where are springs, a very small spring around the x-axis and higher spring constant for the translation in x, in x and y direction. Okay. So, and if you want to see the results, we can do a right click and then turn to the result diagram. So, and then you have to search, you have to scroll down. It's quite at the bottom. And then you see the releases here, line hinges, and the forces. So, and what's interesting to us is VZ, and is 0. So, and then right above with that button, you can edit smooth ranges of the result diagrams. Just click on it and you can enter certain areas. For example, from 0 to 5, 5 to 10, and 10 to 15. Okay, and if you take a look on the right side, use for results, it's automatically selected that we want to display or smooth the releases and forces VZ. Okay. And now you can see the sum of that area here of the 5 meters, about 40 kilonewton. That's quite similar for our fields here or for our areas. And the average is about 8.1 kilonewton per meter. And that would be the value for the dimensioning of your fastener. You can also modify the area. You can extend it, for example, and you can see the average is nearly the same over the length of the line hinge. It's also possible to print that directly to the printer, to the printout report, to a PDF, to the clipboard, or to a file. A file would be a PNG or GPG file. That would be possible. Okay, that should be all to that question. Then we turn to the last model and the last question. It's about concrete design. And the question is, when modeling and calculating downstand beams made of reinforced concrete in RFEM 6, is it recommended to always create member sets? I have to say yes, at least if there are 2 or more members that act as continuous member, then I would say modeling with member sets is recommended. We did it in that example because this is the only way to consistently determine the reinforcement for the entire structure components. It's an advantage, especially for the calculation of the anchoring lengths. Now we've got ribs here, and for ribs, the effective width is not determined along the complete member set. In that example, 1 member was defined for each span. For example, we can double click on it. You can see the rib, and you can see the flange dimension is 69 centimeters for that beam, and for that beam or for that rib, it is 62 or 62.5 centimeters. because of the different span of the beam. Yeah, and if I click on the member set here on the pointed line, then you can open that dialog. You can select the concrete effective length, concrete cover, the concrete durability for that example is XC1. As a nice graphic. It's dry or permanently wet in our example. Then the shear reinforcement. It's possible to define several reinforcement areas without effort on the member sets. Yeah, this way the shear reinforcement can be quickly defined. For example, above the center walls, in the middle, by smaller spacings or different rebar diameter. You can see the spacing is 10 centimeter and the diameter is 14 in that area here. And here we have a larger span or distance between the stirrups also here. So then the longitudinal reinforcement is continuous, also over the supporting here. Then you can see the anchoring lengths and so on. Okay. And it would be also possible to design supports for the deflection analysis. Okay. And if I applied it, I can also let the program display the reinforcement. In the navigator display, you can search for the type for concrete design, the member reinforcement, and the surface reinforcement. Okay. And that's the reinforcement of the member set that we recommend to define. Okay, yeah, that should be all for today's webinar. Now, I showed already the display of the recording. As I said, you will find in the middle when you get the link. If you don't already use RFEM 6, just download the free trial version, RFEM 6 or RSTAB 9. Now it's valid for 90 days. If you have questions to certain add-ons, you can contact our sales team if you want. We can show you certain add-ons if you want to show certain things in the add-ons or in the program. Okay, then that should be all for today. I thank Markus for answering the question. I thank you for your attendance. I hope we will see each other or hear each other in another webinar. Have a nice rest of the day and bye-bye.